In this video, we are going to discuss how to program the seller's product activation and deactivation process. So, if a seller want to deactivate or activate his product, there is a process related to it. So, in this video, we are going to discuss that process, and we will see the product if the process works successfully. So, first of all, I will show you my seller's page, and then we will discuss the activation and deactivation process. So first of all, you need to start the Apache server from the XAMPP control application. So here I have already started the Apache server. Now I will show my seller page, and later on we will discuss the process. So we will check the page. So this is my seller store page. So this is where the activation and deactivation process must happen. Now here I have completed the process, so I will demonstrate the how the process work in the design side. Later on we will discuss the coding side. Now in the design side, if I switch on this button or toggle this button, now here I have deactivated the product. Now here I need to activate my product. So if I need to activate my product, I need to switch off this. Now it will activate. Now default all the products are activated. Now if I want to deactivate, I need to switch on this button. So here if I switch on, it will activate, and as well as it will update in the database status column. It will be updated. Now here if there is a activate, if the product is activated, that means in the database it will be mentioned as activated. If I toggle this one, now there is no, now if I toggle this, now it's deactivated. Now in the data as well, in the database as well, it will be update as deactivate. The product will be mentioned as deactivate in the status column. So we will see the process. The process means I'm in the coding. So this is my products.php file. Here this is where the designing part of the my product PHP file. Now I will focus only on activating and deactivating the product process content. I will subtly show you the design code. So this is the design code we need. Here if there is a session only, we can enter or visit the seller page, and I have required the connection.php file for loading databases. Wait, I will show you the connection.php file. This is my connection.php file. As I have discussed detailedly in the previous web programming videos, I won't discuss in detail. I'll just show my connection.php file for clarification or to get the clear idea. So in the here where the cursor blinks, the password of your database server must be mentioned here. For security reasons, as for now I have erased my password. So we will focus on the activation and deactivation process. So in my products.php file, in the product section, here where the change take place or the process take place, here in the input field where the form class is form check input and the type is checkbox and the role is switch. So here if the role is switch, then in the design it will appear as a switch. So if in there we must mention a function, no, not a function, a class, a onChange class where this function takes place. Change status. Here I have taken the ID of the product straightly without mentioning an ID. So this is known as parameter passing. So to update the status in the whether the product is activated or deactivated, I must require the, so I need the product ID, element of the product table, a column. So a product table is uniquely in products is uniquely identified by the ID. So here I take the ID, and in the class on change I have given an event change status, and here I have printed the ID of the product table. Here the selected data variable, here I have created the selected data variable using the, here the selected data variable using the select all from product where user email equals to the email of our session. Here I have created the variable $email as the email of the session. So the variable means the email of the user in the current session. So here in the selected result set, I have required the user's email or mention the user's email, and here I have selected the result set from the above variable selected result set. So here I have given this selected selected result sets number rows as selected num variable. Here after that I have selected the num and checked whether the selected num is greater than 0. Selected num is lesser than 0. That means I have fetched the selected data. So here that means if the result is more than 1, then I have given a variable to fetch all the result set one by one, row by row. So using the fetch assoc function is used to retrieve integers from the database. So here using fetch assoc I have retrieved the ID of the product table. So here I use the selected data variable, and using this selected data variable, within this variable the product IDs are available. So here I have mentioned to echo the selected data's ID, product ID, that means the product ID, and here I have mentioned in the field I have mentioned here, there I have printed it 2 times. That's a small mistake. No, that's not a mistake. Here I have parametered, I have passed the product ID, and here I have given the product ID. Here the ID, here the ID of this input class, I have given the product ID. Here I have passed the ID. So there is a different. Here I have given the ID as the product ID, and here I have passed the product ID for within the function change status, and here I have mentioned if the selected data status ID equals to 2, that means if the product table status ID equal to 2, then here I have given checked, that means it must be checked. Now see here, now here the status ID is 2, so it's checked. Now it's become status 1. If it is status 2 only, it will be checked. If it is status 1, it won't be checked, and it's unchecked. That means it's another process. That means the activation process happens there. If it is checked, the deactivation process happens there. So here I have given if there is the selected data, if the deactivation or the status ID equals 2, I have mentioned to it as checked. So here within the label class where the activate your product and deactivate your product text appears, here I have given within the if statement and within a PHP script I have mentioned if the selected data, if the selected data means if the product ID status ID equals to, for example, if this product ID status ID equals to, that means now if it is to activate your product, to mention it as activate your product. See, activate, if it is to, then activate your product, else deactivate your product. So else we need to mention as deactivate your product. Now if it is, now it is to, now the if I uncheck it, it will become a deactivate your product. Here if I uncheck, it will become deactivate your product. If I check it or toggle it, it will mention as activate your product. So we will next see the JavaScript file and move on to the change status process PHP file. So in the JavaScript file, I have created a function change status, and within the parameter I have passed the product tables ID, and here I have created a variable product ID and given the ID within the variable, and here I have created a new XML HTTP request and checked whether the ready state is equals to 4 and status is equal to 200, and here I have mentioned the response text within the variable t, and here I have given a if statement. If the t equals, if the t equals success, if the response text equals not success activated, then window dot location dot reload. If it, or if it is equal to deactivated, it also, then also the same process happens, that means window dot location dot reload. Else I have mentioned to alert t here, that means if it is here, I have echo activate your product. No, here I have activate here not here in the state the change process. Here I have mentioned activated and deactivated. So if or there here from the server side to the client side, there may be three responses: either activated, either deactivated, or something went wrong, try again later. So three responses may be received from the server side. So here I have mentioned within the if stated, if the response text from the server side is activated or either deactivated, I have mentioned to window the window dot location, I mean reload the page. So here I have sent the data from client side to server side using the get method, and to the change status process PHP file, and using the Ajax method. So we will next look into the change status process PHP file. Here where the product the process happens, and here where the product not the process happens, sorry, not the process, here where the updating process, that means updating the status table. Now if I click here, now if it, now it's deactivated, no, that means in the status column it must be 2. So if for that process, here I have created the product result set and retrieve the results from the product table, and here I have within the if statement, if the product results is if the result set of the product is equal to 1, then here I have mentioned to retrieve the result set from the product result set, and here I have given the product for the retrieval of product result set, I have assigned a variable product data, and I have created a new variable status, and given assigned it the product table and the status column of the product table. Here now I have mentioned in this line, I have given the dollar variable status, the result set of the product data to the status ID column of the product table. So here basically I have assigned the values of the product data to the status ID column of the product table. So here I have mentioned if statement. If the status equals 1, then here I have mentioned to update it to status ID equals 2. So if status equals 1, I have mentioned to set it as 2, or else an echo deactivated. So here I have updated the status column of the product table and given an echo deactivated. If the status result set equals 2, that means if either it must be 1 or 2, no. If the status ID must be either 1 or 2. So if the status ID equals 2, then I have given to update it as status ID 1, where the ID equals the product ID of the server side. So here I have given an echo activated, else I have given echo something went wrong. That means if any of these process didn't happen, I have given echo something went wrong, try again later. So if there is a problem with the query or variable or with the database, then this echo will appear in the client side or in our web page. So that's all for this video for the product activating and deactivating process. Thank you. Have a nice day.